Alright, it's been a while since I did a clunky chunk piece into an arrowhead type video, so that's what I'm going to do. This is a heat treat. I believe it's 375. Let's see, my last heat treat, maybe 385 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 hours, something like that. Georgia Chert, Flint River. Yeah, like I said before, I've purchased a lot of this, so it's becoming one of my favorites. Hopefully it's not too boring that I keep napping this stuff. Yeah, and I napped the Texas stuff for years, so I need something different. Oh yeah, something coming up is someone asked me to do plate glass for making stained glass windows. So that's what this is. And I bought a piece that looks similar to stone. I'm pretty sure, well, I already started napping on some of it. That pattern goes through pretty much, but we'll see how it works out later. This stuff is very thin. It's like less than 1/8 of an inch thick, so it's like napping a thin flake, but it's a little bit more delicate than stone, of course, or obsidian. Believe it or not, that stuff is very, very delicate. And you can buy that stuff at Hobby Lobby. So in between the heat treats and that kind of stuff on the Primo eBay material, I'll be sneaking in other videos. I think the glass ones I'll do tomorrow, or I'll do one of the glass tomorrow. Sundays are usually my obsidian and glass day, so I'm going to break into this. I don't know what happened to that piece, or maybe it broke when it was in storage. I don't have this other piece, but that doesn't matter. I can use glass cutters to cut this up, and it'll be like little bitty slabs. I have napped it before, but it used to give me a lot of trouble. Hopefully nowadays that I have more experience, it won't give me as much trouble. And what I mean by that is it used to break on me to the extent that I was not able to do anything larger than 1 inch long. As far as a nice arrowhead, it's fully flaked. You can make an arrowhead out of that is unifacial, where it's only flaked on one side, right? That's the easiest way to do it. Or you could just bevel the edges and leave the natural or the original factory surface on both sides and just nap on the edges and kind of bevel it. Beveling the edges is the easiest way to make an arrowhead out of plate glass. That way you don't have to mess with the thickness. Yeah. But we'll see. If I don't forget, I'll nap it tomorrow. Okay. There's other colors too, but it's not useful for large arrowheads, which turns a lot of people off. They want 6-inch points or longer. So in most cases they want to start out with a preform that's 6 inches or longer and then nap it down to be worth our while, you know. But for those of you who like the little arrowheads, it might be interesting. It's interesting for me because it gives me a chance to do something different. yeah. I'm probably going to have to sharpen up my pressure flaking tools a little bit better, or just modify the ones I've got that are just sitting there into tools that'll be able to nap that really thin glass. You'll see. I will still probably use indirect percussion on some of that, believe it or not. I've got a small diameter indirect percussion rod. You know, this one, the 1/4 inch. This one's 3/8 steel. This is 1/4 inch steel. I can nap very thin glass slabs with the 1/4 inch steel, and there's 2 ends on it. One is sharper than the other, so I might use this, but it's not really necessary unless I want long flakes. We'll see. Napping glass can be enjoyable as long as you don't try to do too much. Yeah, if you try to ask too much of the glass, it's not enjoyable at all. And what I mean by that is, you know, you want perfect flaking. When it crushes too much or leaves a powdery white edge and that kind of thing, it gets very frustrating. But if you just live with it and don't care too much about that sort of thing, and don't care if the flaking on the surface is perfect, it can be, you know, it can be fine. Overshot. I don't like the overshots. That might look like a nice continuous platform, but it's kind of delicate on the edge here, so you still got to grind it a little bit. And then when you take off that sharp edge, it's too steep. It's too steep this way. It's not too bad. It's good for pressure flaking, actually. But other than that, I don't like it. Yeah, it's good for pressure flaking. Why is it not good for percussion flaking? I don't know. I'd rather hit stronger areas, you know, areas that are, after I, you know, grind it down and look for opportunities, I like stronger areas than this, you know, areas that stick out slightly. I don't like a perfect prepared edge. This is not a perfect prepared edge, but I need to think about this a little bit more. So many people have told me that, yeah, overshots are valuable because of the edge that it produces on the other side, and it flattens the whole piece and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know. I've never had a good experience with overshots because they end up ruining my symmetry or the material that I wanted to use to run flakes. Or it happens toward the end of the finishing process and I end up ruining the overall look of the piece. So it's never really been a good thing. But part of learning is trying to overcome problems that you've had in the past, instead of just ignoring or dismissing them, or just not dealing with them. Alright, it's getting small, so it's time to get rid of the gloves. How do you not hit your fingers? That's one of the main questions I get when a new guy sees me napping this kind of stuff at nap-ins or whatever. How do you not hit your fingertips? Well, it's not easy. Sometimes I gotta cut my fingernails all the way down to nothing, so that the tool doesn't catch the tip of my fingernail and rip it backwards. It is a thing. And a lot of times I do drive flakes into my index finger when I do that exact move there. That sort of thing. But it's just practice. I used to get my fingers all cut up in the beginning, but nowadays I know how far back to hold my finger. I guess the grip strength has changed to be able to hold it back a little bit further instead of holding it right up next to the edge. I can hold it back, hold the workpiece back a little bit further so that I don't get my finger right in the travel, right in the path of the flake travel that flies off. The flight path of the flake. My fingertip is not in the flight path of the flake. All right. It's critical hit time, critical hits, and hopefully it doesn't dive in too much. That one dived a little bit. I tried to get under that troubled spot, but it tried to get under it too well and it dived a little bit. This is still kind of tough even though it's a heat treat. I know I say that a lot, but I just wanted to let you know. I want you to know that sometimes heat treat is not like glass. It's not always really easy, and you might be purchasing some heat treat and you're thinking to yourself, man, this is not like glass at all. Is it really making a difference, the heat? The answer is yes. It does make a difference, but sometimes it is really hard still to nap. You got to hit it hard. In other words, especially at temperatures below 400 on heat treat, you still have to hit these pieces pretty hard. Yeah, make sure they don't get you. See, I just hit it 3 times and nothing happened. If you end up hitting it too many times in one place, sometimes it's creating cracks and fractures even though you can't see them, and then you end up with unpredictability. So you have to get into the habit of not hitting the same spot too many times. I know I had a hard time with that in the very beginning. I just keep hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting in the same spot over and over and over as a newbie, and then when it finally did release, it released in all kinds of weird ways, or it got all crackly, and I would think, Alright, well that's the way the stone naturally fractures. No. You made it all crackly. That's not the way the stone naturally fractures in most cases. It's all crackly and crunchy on the edge because you've been hitting it over and over and over and over again. It's supposed to release cleanly without any crackling or crunching. I really should do some pressure flaking on this, but not yet. Why pressure flaking? Because it makes it look nice and neat. Pressure flaking has a way of making the whole surface look nice and neat, whereas the indirect percussion or any kind of percussion is kind of aggressive, and you get bold flakes and bold scoop outs on the edge, and everything is more intense looking. Yeah, you can get smooth surfaces with indirect percussion if you go really slowly and carefully and meticulously. But I like using indirect percussion for bold flakes. That's its strength. That's its advantage. The bold flaking. Other than its accuracy. Yeah, sometimes can't avoid the little step fractures on the edge. Or those unreleased flakes. And I got to be careful not to install a curve, because the indirect percussion can remove a lot of material, and it can remove it right where you don't want it to by accident. Looks like it did not take very long to get it down to a thin preform. $18 minutes. Yeah, it doesn't take that long once you get the hang of it. Easier said than done, right? Oh yes, that's the Flintknapping thing. Much easier said than done, and some guys out there are experts at saying this and that about Flintknapping, but they don't Flintknap. Yeah, but they know what to say about it. They know what to say about the angles, about the forces, about the tools that you use, about the artifacts. They know what to say about all that stuff, but they don't Flintknap. So how do they know? They just repeat. Copy and paste in the vocal manner. They're copy and paste type commentators. It's better if you Flintknap, because then you can relay your own experiences. We need to know how varied the experiences are between nappers. How different is it for this napper compared to that napper? Because we all know that nobody naps in exactly the same way, but we want to know, you know, how different is it? We know that no one naps in exactly the same way, but how different is it? Are there some that are extremely different? Are there groups of nappers that come so close to being like each other you can't tell the difference between the points or who made them? Is it possible to become synced with another napper if you nap together? Do your points end up becoming the same? Let's say you nap together with someone for years. Do the points start to sync? Like, you can't tell the difference? I don't know if there's studies that have been done of that kind of thing. Or do the nappers just remain pretty much independent? And get stuck in their own ways, so to speak. They don't sync up. Or they don't end up napping exactly in the same way. With the same tool set. Or maybe they do. How long does it take for them to get synced? 2 days, 2 years, 2 months, 20 years? So if you don't relay your own experiences and you just copy paste and you're a spectator, it's not really contributing much, if anything. Yeah, see, the percussion wasn't doing very well. I'm going to try the pressure. Why wasn't it doing it very well? Because I'm holding back a lot on the force. I don't want to snap it. And when that happens, you know, a lot of times it doesn't impart enough force to carry the flake far enough. And you end up with a worse situation than when you started. Yeah. All right. So let's see. This is getting worn down. See, it's supposed to be like this long. So maybe I'll use this one. Or one that I've been using already. Maybe this one is better. I've got some in reserve, you know, I got 3 more in reserve. So if it gets really dull, I can switch it without having to resharpen. That's the plan anyway. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna regularize this. Did it work? I don't see the flake. Oh yeah. It just seemed too easy. Yeah. Oops. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think I've said it before in a response to a question in the comments that pressure flaking is, or heat treat is very friendly to pressure flaking, and I think it's the main advantage of heat treating is the pressure flaking actually. And not just because it makes it nice and easy to run long flakes in general. Specifically, I think the biggest advantage is the pressure flaking, which includes the notching. If you do notching, heat treating makes it easier. If you do a lot of serrations and stuff, heat treat makes that easier too. I get the question, is a heat treat sharper than a raw? I think the heat treat is sharper than raw, but it's more delicate, so it gets duller faster. So a heat treat is better for one-shot deals. A one-shot arrowhead. Or one shot at little dart point. But if you want to use it over and over again like a knife, it's probably best to use a raw stone for a knife. Although I think they probably use everything. Raw for one-shot deals and heat treats for knives, but I think in general, if you wanted to be smarty pants about it, raw is best for knives and heat treats best for the one-shot deals. And also heat treat saves you time. Yeah, because you can do stuff like that. Although they didn't have steel, but you can get in there with the if it's tall enough, if the step fracture is tall enough, you can get in there with antler and stuff. Yeah, it is possible to do that. But the step fracture has to be tall enough. It can't be a little one like right there. Yeah, it's hard to get those little step fractures out in that way. That's why they used to leave them in there back in the day. But we don't need to leave them in there because we got cheater tools. Yeah. And I can be very methodical about picking those out of there and doing the pressure flaking nice and carefully. The smoother the surface is, the farther these flakes travel. Yeah, nice and smooth travel, as long as it's a smooth surface. There is some skill, obviously, in producing long, smooth flakes on a rough surface to begin with. You got to be very careful to know exactly how strong the stone is to know what it can overcome as far as defects on the surface. You can blow through defects on the surface if you know the properties of the stone well enough. You end up preparing a strong edge, for example, scooping out a really deep pressure flake that runs long through a bunch of crud. But you can't just haphazardly do it. It takes time, and that's why I don't do it that often. I'll just use percussion and try to blast through. Indirect percussion. The indirect percussion is better for blasting. Yeah. It's very aggressive. I don't have to be as careful in the preparation. I just blast it right through there, which is what I'm going to try to do next. So see, it's kind of lumpy. It's got a step right in there. It's thick, relatively speaking. It's thicker here than right there. I gotta take this down, but I already tried pressure, as you can see, but it didn't thin it down very much in the middle. To get it thin in the middle, I really got to blast through that stuff. And the best remedy for that is big bold flakes, in my opinion. Some of you guys can thin that down with pressure, but I have trouble with that. Yep. I get better results with percussion. Can I get something like that with pressure? Yeah, but the amount of force I need for that on the pad usually snaps the tip right off. That's a lot of force there. I had to hit that 3 times too. Each time was harder than the last. So that means that required a lot of force to generate that flake. Dang it. There it is. That was a lot of force on that flake too. That's the kind of force that snaps it if I'm using pressure. The way I do pressure. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. See? Percussion can blast through that. Oh yes. Makes me happy. Yep. I still get a kick out of some of the guys that watch the channel. They go, I didn't realize you could use indirect percussion on something that small. And I'm thinking to myself, I must have been doing a lot of big points in order for them not to see that I do this on small points as well. Yep. What is that? I can't see. The only thing bad about these small points is I can't see really exactly what I'm doing. I can't see exactly what I'm doing, so I'll mess it up sometimes. Like I'll think it's a good dull edge or whatever, and it's not. That one I think I just tried to do too much. Take too much. Yeah, I'm trying to bite off more than I can chew on these strikes. I gotta cut back on the amount of meat I'm trying to take off. Yeah. Need to whittle it down little by little. Okay. Yeah, I messed that up. I don't know how I'm going to get that stiff fracture out of there. We'll get it eventually. We're going to have to, or it's going to look stupid. Yeah. So what kind of point am I going to make? It's getting to the stage where it's reaching the limits of my percussion work ability, reaching the limits of my production of my percussion ability. Yeah. So I've got to start thinking about what I'm going to do. What I'm going to make. What type of arrowhead? Yeah, once I clear that step fracture out of there, I can start thinking clearly. That's messing me up. It's messing up my mental clarity. You might say, well, I never noticed you had any mental clarity. Looks like you're messed up constantly. Yeah, well, yeah, that might be true. But Flintknapping saves me from complete mental discombobulation. Yeah. Gives me something constructive to think about. Instead of being all over the place. I was thinking today, you know, maybe I shouldn't be thinking too much about philosophy or philosophical issues, because I had to take a nap today. My brain was hurting so much. Why was it hurting? Because it hurts when you try to think in the same way as someone insane and try to figure out what is it that drives them to remain in that state. What is it? I mean, is it there's got to be something, because they don't let go of those particular mindsets or those particular ideas. So you get into the idea and into the mindset, and you figure out why is it useful to be in this mindset. And I'm thinking, I don't know, this is very, very exhausting to be in certain mindsets. Maybe people need like torture in their brain in order to feel alive or something. I don't know. They can't be at peace because they don't like it. That's what I'm thinking. I just don't like being at peace. It's too boring. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I took a nap and I woke up and I felt much better. Yeah. Naps have always been a good thing, no matter how old I am. I keep thinking that maybe I'm just getting old. I need those naps. But no, I used to take naps a lot when I was young, and that made me feel better. Yeah. Brain is going 100 miles an hour all the time. Well, not all the time. It is a roller coaster. But when it goes fast, it goes really fast. Yeah. The Flintknapping kind of levels it out a little bit. Yeah. Which is nice. Anyway, it's also possible that people that appear to be insane are not really insane. They just communicate in a certain way in order to bug you. Yeah. It could be that way too. I don't know. So what is it? What's it going to be? What is this going to be? You'll see. I mean, it's in the thumbnail. Okay, let's see. Yeah. All right. This type of arrowhead requires a lot of patience. Why do people want to see the arrowheads that take a lot of patience? Why? Why do they do that? They know it's going to take a lot of patience. They know it's going to take a lot of persnickety flint napping. Why do they ask to see it when they know it's going to, this is what it's going to be? It's going to be a lot of slow, painstaking, nitpicky, very fussy napping. They know it, but they still want to see it. Because they want to know, how do they do it? You already know how they're going to do it, or how they did it, or how I'm going to do it. You already know. Slow, painstaking, persnickety, OCD, and tiptoe through the tulips kind of flint napping. Yeah, it's not a mystery. Maybe I can reveal some tricks. Yeah. I'll let it slip. Once in a while, I'll let it slip and I'll reveal a trick. And you'll go, aha, I got him to reveal a secret. They made him reveal a secret. Yeah, maybe there is some secrets that I don't really realize that I'm using. Yeah. Who knows? Have you seen any secrets? Yeah? Funny thing is, you don't tell me. You don't go, hey, I noticed in the video that you revealed one of your secrets, or it seems like it was like blah blah blah. I don't see that comment very often. So since I don't see that comment very often, it's like, okay, these guys already know what's gonna go on. They already know what's gonna happen. They never tell me that they see a secret that they didn't know about. So that means they already knew what I was gonna do. There's no secret. Maybe they just want to confirm that there's no secret. Okay. I don't care. I kind of do care, because I want to know why you think there's a mystery there. Okay. Yeah. I kid around a lot. A lot of you want to know how not to break it. That's like 90% of you. How do you do it without breaking it? I always break it. How do you do it? Yeah, they just watch to see how not to break it. I know. But you already know. You still already know. You still already know it's slow, careful, painstaking, persnickety, tiptoe through the tulips, annoying flint napping. You know this already. That's what it is. If you're just methodical, OCD, tiptoeing through the tulips, you're not going to break it. Yeah. You break it because you're spaz. Okay? Sorry, but, you know, I'm trying to explain it to you like you're 5. gosh, I got a little bit of a problem here. Yeah. Should I do that at the end? It's too thick down in here. I got to taper it perfectly. These points are perfect. Oh yes. Why did they used to do them perfectly back in the day when they didn't need to? I don't know. Oh dang, come on. What is going on? There you go. Yeah, I shouldn't make this too thin right now, because I could end up snapping it. But I don't know. As long as I'm careful. Let's see. I always move the lamp back. I don't keep it in this spot because it's hard for me to sit down. So yeah, I should figure out a way to get these lamps suspended from the ceiling. That way I don't have to keep moving that tripod. Can you see, or is it focused on my thumbnail right there instead of focused right here? That's why I got to move this thing over to this side a lot of times, because it'll focus on my thumbnail or my Flintknapping tool. But yeah, it's just gonna be like minutes, endless minutes of nothing but persnicketies. Yeah. And I've got to entertain myself with some topic when I'm doing this. Usually I have, well, not usually, but many times I'm listening to a podcast while I'm napping these days. I used to listen to audiobooks while I napped. It didn't work out so well because I need to pay attention really well to the book. If I got both these things going on, the audiobook and the napping, I'm paying attention to these things not very well. I can pay attention to something very well if it's one thing, but then I split my attention between two things and I'm not listening, or I'm not doing it very well. Yeah, the more things you add to the mix, the lesser quality each one of them gets. Yeah. Crunchy, crunchy. I got to sharpen this a little bit better for the final flaking, but I think I got it to where I can fix it later. It might be a little too pointy. I'm trying to remember. Well, no, it might not be too pointy. I might still be able to preserve the entire length. Okay. I'm going by memory on this. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm okay. Let's see, which way? The funny thing is, it looks good in the viewfinder, but I can't see it that well in person when I got the lamp in that position. For some reason, the glare is a little bit different when I'm looking at it than when the camera is looking at it. Just FYI. So if it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, it's because I can't see. That's my excuse. and I'll mess up every now and then. Yeah, I looked through the viewfinder, it looks pretty good, except I need to be napping on the darker side of the pad. Might be better. Yeah. Might be better. Yeah, this type of arrowhead is good for the hour-long video. Yeah. Nice long flake. Oh yes. I get lucky sometimes. All right. I'm going to be notching here soon, so I need to make sure that the notch pathways are very well thinned. Okay, and I got to make sure my notching tool is thin enough. So I'm going to be taking a break here. Thinning this down. Well, I do have another notching tool. Where is it? Yeah, this one is thinner. Is it? Man, it's about the same. Dang it. Well, I'm going to use this one anyway. This is a short handle one. I got short and long just in case. See? 1-inch diameter oak dowels. I really don't like oak for some reason. It's too, like, I don't know, it's not smooth. It's open grain. I don't really like open grain wood, but it's easy to get. When I'm up north, I can get lots of closed grain wood like maple. But there's not that many closed grain wood types here, unless they're ornamentals. I used to collect the Yopon holly branches and stuff, but I ended up throwing all that out because I just don't have time to deal with it. Yeah, when I want to make a tool, I want to make it in 5 minutes, and I don't want to be peeling bark off and looking to see if it's cracked or it's got bugs or whatever. Okay? Okay. I know. So sensitive. I'm going to try some narrow notches. See how narrow I can go. All right, that should be thin enough. Yeah. Should be. I think I've mentioned it before, but the secret to narrow notches is a thin workpiece. It's not that thin though. So I'm going to be pressing dangerously hard, like right there. Yep. Dang it. Oh well. Yeah, oh well. I tried. I don't think the notches were really that deep on these anyway. I should have quit while I was ahead. I think I'm symmetrical, maybe, maybe not. On the real ones, a lot of times these are these have notches that one is narrow and the other is not narrow. Maybe not on this particular style, but you know what I mean. On as a general rule, the notches are rarely exactly matching. They'll match exactly on the 1% of the 1%. All right. I'm really risking snapping this thing. Because I want to get that last pop out. But I'm right on a spot that looks to be a different consistency. All right. So I take a flake into that area. Maybe 2 flakes. Let's see. I can lose width for sure. And I can drive flakes in after I lose this width. Yeah, another way to not break these is if you do, you just don't show the video. Yeah, if I break this one, you'll never know because I won't show it. And I'll make another one that won't break and you'll say, ah, that's how you not break it. You not break it by not showing the ones that did break. Yeah, that's how you not break it. You didn't know, huh? Nope. It's the wonders of video. You think it teaches you, but it can be sneaky. Yeah. It can be sneaky and you really don't learn nothing because what you're learning is the luck. the lucky ones. You don't see the actual breakage. Nope. Because I'm not going to show it. Would I do that to you? Would I not show you the breakages? Oh yeah. Because, you know, no one wants to see them anyway. I've broken them on video before, and people say, I'm glad you showed the break, but I look at the view count, and it's like half of what I get normally. So yeah, there are guys that are glad that I showed the break, but most people go, man, don't want to see it. I'm not surely not going to watch it over again. Yeah, so that's it. That's what I get for showing breaks. I'm trying to thin it down where those notches are going. Right, so maybe I can do it a little bit better at popping, making that last pop out. I don't have to do this. They're already deep enough. Oh, I almost did it. Yeah, I almost thinned it. Dang it, it stopped. Yeah, dang it. Dumpty dumpty dum. What am I gonna do? I don't know. Try to pull a rabbit out of my hat. These tips do get hardened. They get work hardened, and they start slipping on the edge of the stone, and it won't make a long flake. I noticed after doing lots of pressure flaking, I noticed that. Nice, that's what I wanted. Nice long flake. And I probably couldn't have done it without removing the hardened tip. I don't know if I can pop out that last pop out, because I'm trying to get in, trying to get lucky and thin out right where that bottom of that notch is. With all these attempts at thinning, it's getting thinner, but I'll probably just leave it or something. Yes, no. I don't know. We'll be a little bit more persnickety here and see what we can do. I got a feeling it's already not. It's not quite right, but it's gonna have to be good enough. Dang it, I got a little step fracture on the edge. Not supposed to be. These have nice flaking patterns on them. Yeah. Nope, not like that. Not like that. Not like that either. Not like that. I told you. Should I have ground it before? No, it was already ground. It was already ground right there. That's better. Nice flakes, so it looks like I did it in 5 minutes. Yeah. It takes like 30 minutes to make it look like you did it in 5 minutes. Alright, so this side has a nice pop out. It's just the other side that's stubborn. Let's see. The notch is deep enough. It's just stalled. Okay. I'll just leave it. I'll grind the bottom of that notch so it doesn't have that metal mark. It's got a metal mark. Gotta be careful how I grind it because I can blow away the sides. So yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of the metal mark that I don't like. I think that did it. Okay. So the rest of it is just, you know, painstaking pressure flaking. Yeah. That's it. It's got a curve in it. Slight curve. Which means I'm going to lose part of the tip. So I need to flake this side better. Yeah. We'll see what happens. It's okay. This is not pointy enough. Yeah, it's starting to wobble on me. Yep. Alright, that's not that good. Not that good. I really have to learn how to pressure flake to get those flakes over the top. But most of the time I don't want them to go too much over the top, because eventually I want to do like Eden points and that kind of thing on video, and you don't want them to go too far over the top. And yes, I have made Eden points. It's very difficult to get the flaking distance just right on each flake. And the secret is just don't overdo it. But in the process of trying to not overdo it, you end up underdoing it. So how do you overcome that? One word: practice. Oops. Over and over and over. Practice, practice, practice. No, not like that. Okay. Did that barking wake you up? Yeah, I'm almost done. We're almost there. When the flakes, the step fractures or the fingernail step fractures are that thin, sometimes you can grind them off. Just by rubbing like that. But in this case, they're not that thin. Do you need to take those off? Well, no, but it would be nice. Yeah, oh, there it goes. I was gonna say I was just gonna leave it in there. I could rub it with another rock, but this abrading stone seems to work pretty well, you know, and not put tool marks or abrasion marks in the stone. Yeah, it works pretty good, and there's well, not much abrasion associated with this abrading stone. Yeah. Okay. Just a slight touch up. Still some dull spots. That's what I'm doing right now, is trying to hit the dull spots. I can't remember how jaggedy these edges are. Are they very finely serrated, or are they super smooth? I can't remember. But anyway. I tried to get as much flaking as possible on both sides. Why? Because I think these were heavily flaked. I don't think there's many bold flakes on these, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway. Yeah, this makes a nice Agee point, this material. Nice and translucent. Okay. Alright, I'm going to take a break after that one. That was too persnickety for me. Yeah. heat treat. Some of these have double notches, right? If I remember correctly. I could make the base bigger and put double notches on some of them. I'll make a double notch one eventually. These are not very large either. This is on the larger side. Some of these are quite long, but those are extremely rare. And some of them have fat tips. You know, they go up almost parallel right here, right? And it's pretty fat, and then it quickly and abruptly becomes sharp or pointy. And then there's these gradual ones, these gradual tapered ones. I like the gradual tapered one because they're easy. But a lot of these have parallel sides, right? So I might do a parallel side one eventually. Alright. I just got to get a little photo. Okay. There it is.